fought that case. The good news is we won that case, and this happened about 6 weeks back. Like 7 of our accounts are frozen.
7 accounts.
7 accounts are sort of frozen, and the money is sort of also blocked. Like जो भी उनका है ना account और like accounts are debit sort of frozen, right?
Like since you are revamping, so I would invite you like for Twitter Spaces and all, and even ये मेरी audience से भी request है कि अगर आपके पास भी कुछ issues हैं जो भी आप BitBNS पे face कर रहे हो तो एक बार यहीं comment section में डाल दो, then हम उसको brief out करके that I believe that would be easy for you
Correct.
and easy for the users.
Things should sort of start getting better for users from an experience standpoint. How users can make best from the bull run.
I remember BitBNS back in 2018-19. I have seen the BitBNS journey. तो मुझे पता है एक टाइम पे वो one of the top exchanges था.
Correct.
And just one quick question before ending the podcast. Do you believe कि इसमें lack of regulations जो भी इंडिया में exist कर रही हैं crypto spaces के around उसकी बहुत बड़ा यहाँ पे issue है?
And I clearly told that journalist, if you want to meet me, you can meet me in the next sort of like few hours or the next day. I am in Bangalore.
BitBNS एक टाइम पे इंडिया का लीडिंग क्रिप्टो एक्सचेंज था एंड BitBNS एक्चुअली लॉन्च्ड वन ऑफ द बेस्ट फीचर्स इन द क्रिप्टो स्पेस एंड जो अभी तक मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द ग्लोबल एक्सचेंजेस ने लॉन्च नहीं करे हैं। तो ऐसा क्या हुआ कि एक टाइम पे जो एक लीडिंग इंडियन एक्सचेंज था, आज की डेट में काफ़ी यूजर्स वहाँ पर ब्लेम कर रहे हैं कि उन्हें ये इश्यूज आ रहे हैं, प्राइस डिफरेंशिएशन इतना है, क्रिप्टो या INR विड्रॉल्स काम नहीं कर रहे। तो ऐसा क्या हुआ एंड क्या डिफिकल्टीज एक्चुअल में BitBNS फेस कर रहा है, वो सारी चीज़ें हम आज के पॉडकास्ट में कवर करने वाले हैं। क्योंकि खुद लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन आज के पॉडकास्ट में जो हमें ज्वाइन करने वाले हैं वो BitBNS के फाउंडर मिस्टर गौरव धाके हैं। तो मेक श्योर अगर आप एक BitBNS यूजर हो एंड अगर आपको कोई भी प्रॉब्लम आ रही है तो ये पॉडकास्ट आपके लिए वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉडकास्ट है जिसको आप मिस नहीं कर सकते हो। लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, लेट मी वेलकम मिस्टर गौरव। हाय गौरव, वेलकम टू कॉफी विद क्रिप्टो। काफी अच्छा लग रहा है आप आए हो, बहुत टाइम से मैं ट्राई कर रहा था आपको पॉडकास्ट में लाने के लिए।
Right, right.
आई वेरी डायरेक्ट राइट नाउ क्योंकि बहुत सारे यूजर्स को BitBNS में बहुत सारी दिक्कतें फेस हो रही हैं। लाइक अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं क्रिप्टो विड्रॉल्स की या फिर साथ ही साथ प्राइस डिफरेंशिएशन की, एंड बहुत टाइम से कुछ यूजर्स के विड्रॉल्स आर पेंडिंग, चाहे आपके क्रिप्टो के हो चाहे INR के हो। तो आज मैं आपको ये तंग करने वाला हूँ इन सारे क्वेश्चंस के साथ और मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप एक बार यहाँ पे जितनी भी ऑडियंस देख रही है उनके लिए भी ये चीज़ एक बार आप क्लैरिफाई कर दो।
Right. So I think I'll so this is something I did like a couple of days back, and I started thinking as a user here, if I'm say use a platform like BitBNS, what would be my current sort of uh, thoughts that are running through my mind? कि user के shoes में if I sort of get into, and I realized कि दो तीन चीजें are sort of like not happening right from our side. Um, one is the lack of communication. I think that is the core of a lot of these sort of issues, where we're sort of like putting efforts, doing things and all, but a lot of that has not been communicated to users. So lack of communication, काफी critical issue है. Like for that, I would like to sort of apologize. And as I said कि ये मैं recently उस पे काफी सोचा, and that's when I'm like here I need to take steps to sort of address that, which is why this like discussion is sort of happening. And I think एक चीज उसके around I'll sort of like try and ensure कि the communications are a lot more sort of consistent, uh, like with frequency के बार बार ये communication हो पा रहा है, क्या क्या चीज़ें हो रही है, क्या challenges exchanges face कर रहे हैं in case of say BitBNS, what challenges have sort of happened, उस पे क्या काम हुआ है, what are we sort of doing to address it, and sort of look into all those sort of things. So I'll start with basically an apology कि a lot of these sort of problems have stemmed around from the lack of communication, and I take sort of full responsibility around that. कि the communication should have been a lot more sort of clear in terms of क्या हो रहा है. There are a lot of positives as well, and I'll sort of also explain them. कि क्या क्या हुआ है recent में. We'll sort of start sort of sequentially, right? INR withdrawal has been one of the things that people have sort of mentioned. They've sort of faced trouble with, on that end, like we've had two sort of court cases that we've sort of been fighting. So typically, like when you operate sort of a fiat to crypto exchange, um, ideal flow for taking money is when you sort of do it in the form जहाँ पर एक पेमेंट प्रोसेसर or payment gateway, right? Payment gateways typically don't support crypto exchanges,
Right.
because of how RBI sort of thinks about the sector. It's like sort of an informal sort of restriction that is out there, जहाँ पर payment processors तो reason पे क्या अगर आप terms and conditions पढ़ोगे clearly mentioned है कि they don't support, and you will find that across for all major sort of payment gateways, right? So इसका next floor ideally becomes to sort of get a nodal bank account जिसके through वो हो सकता and the last resort sort of becomes कि you take a current account जहाँ पे आप वो INR deposit users से ले सकते हो और withdrawals facilitate. So we sort of like nodal accounts, again, banks are not willing to give to crypto exchanges. Nodal accounts, at least the entire account cannot be sort of blocked.
Okay.
And current account, man, that like the entire account will be frozen, even small sort of amount. What we've sort of realized is so 2017 we sort of started. This is when UPI Wave also sort of became popular. So we are the first exchange to sort of introduce UPI deposits, and also sort of like got a lot of users based on that. 2018, 19, like early 2020, RBI का one formal restriction था that came through the circular that entities that sort of deal with crypto would not be served banking or payment processing access limit. Then the Supreme Court sort of case happened. The case was won, and there was a lot of positive sort of things that happened based on that. So after that, the momentum was sort of solid. We as an exchange sort of innovated on a lot of things, and built quite a few unique features. So like with SIPs, margin trading, and quite a few things we sort of built over a period of time. 2021, like things were all sort of like great. And that's when we started seeing in earnings, like earlier parts of here, जहाँ certain account में कुछ block लगने. So we started dealing with that. We were sort of like, I personally have visited those sort of police stations and like law enforcement agency offices, and sort of tried explaining them, कि, hey, this is the issue. We are basically an intermediary. And a user who is sort of like registered on the platform, he has received funds from somewhere जहाँ पे शायद वो funds में कोई issue है, and that eventually should lead to only that amount sort of being restricted, not the entire bank account sort of being sort of restricted. So we sort of started seeing that. So even for small amounts, like one of the court cases that we're sort of fighting was with the Andhra government, and the quantum of the amount that was about 9 lakh, for which earlier over 65 CR was sort of frozen.
दस 9 लाख के ट्रांजैक्शन की वजह से 65 सीआर का बैंक अकाउंट फ्रीज करा था.
Right. So in 2021, and we got part of it released, so 38 CR was sort of unblocked. And still, there was 27 CR plus lying into that. Eventually became 30 CR because like a lot of people have the bank account of an exchange same.
Okay.
जब उनको ट्रेड करना होता है तो उस एक्सचेंज पे उस अकाउंट पे सीधा भेज देता है. They don't actually go to the deposit section, see if their bank account is sort of changed and all. So there is also like some money that users deposited over a period of time that sort of costs. We fought that case. The good news is we won that case, and this happened about 6 weeks back. But if you see the time duration, the block happened August 2021, and we won it like in September. was on 24th.
Yes.
So the judicial sort of system and the flow that it sort of takes a lot of time, and that sort of restricted sort of our ability to sort of serve users for a longer sort of duration. So at that point in time, 2021, we're sort of like funding operations from our end in terms of like any revenue or sort of profits that come through. We'll sort of ensure that any of these sort of blocks that will sort of utilize the profits and revenues to sort of fund any of the user question also. Till early mid 2022, all deposits and withdrawals were instant, including sort of INR, and the limits were significantly higher. So you could sort of withdraw up to sort of 20, 25 lakhs in a day, and it would sort of hit your bank accounts in the same sort of day. Instant withdrawals were sort of also
Even BitBNS was one of the first exchanges जिन्होंने instant withdrawals भी ship करे थे.
correct. So we had that in place, and then eventually a few sort of things happened together. So 2022, like this block was sort of there. Second is TDS introduction sort of happened, right? So that overnight took out 95% of the volumes that were happening on Indian exchanges, also the revenue that was sort of like linked to it, right? So if you're sort of like trying to utilize revenue to sort of ensure we're sort of facilitating seamless withdrawals and other things to users, that ability also sort of got impacted severely. A lot of users also started trading on global exchanges because of the TDS implications that sort of started happening. Um, and that part sort of curtailed the ability. There was another block that sort of happened onto that account. That was like already an account was sort of in block. That agency again sort of put another block into.
ऐसे मतलब आपके कोर्ट केस जीतने के बाद जब वो
नहीं,
account
court case जीते हैं अभी. Like recently, court case was going on. So the same funds, two agencies were sort of claiming, which makes zero sense, right? Like कि एक agency, like law enforcement agency ने पड़ा पैसे कह रहे, this fund sort of should be sort of blocked. Another agency is putting block on the same sort of account. So that sort of again we sort of challenged it in the High Court. Then went to the specific court of that agency. It's called the appellate tribunal, and those hearings are sort of in progress now, in the final stages. And we've moved for urgency hearing pleas there. So we have hearings going on there. One of the hearings is on December 11th this month. So we're expecting a positive sort of outcome as well, as we sort of got in the Andhra sort of High Court a few weeks. With this sort of like coming through, it would sort of like start getting things back to sort of normal. So people sort of like INR deposit, INR withdrawals and all would sort of start getting seamlessly processed. We're still sort of already processing withdrawals and all for the users. And we created like a few systems into place for that. So normal withdrawals is sort of there, and press withdrawals is there. Now, with some of these systems that we sort of bought in, we again face issues. So this we sort of started seeing in like part of last year. So we were one of the exchanges that kept crypto withdrawals open for all users till sort of early 2024. Late part of 2023, we started seeing that कि बहुत सारे users के against like we are sort of getting bank account block or sort of debit freeze sort of like notices on different accounts. So this started escalating a lot post sort of October and last year, November, December, and all. And then we started understanding what exactly is sort of happening. We started realizing that a lot of people were trying to do, say, arbitrage across sort of different exchanges. So they're saying, say, USDT price on BitBNS was X, and the same P2P price on Binance was X plus 5, right? So 90 rupees अगर BitBNS पे तो 95 was on sort of Binance, or 85 यहाँ पे तो 89 on Binance. So users were depositing, registering, KYCing, or already had accounts, and then sort of like were depositing to purchase USDT. USDT withdraw करके वो लोग Binance पे sell कर रहे थे, And in quite a few of these cases, when they're seeing कि larger price वाला वो pair के साथ और seller के साथ they're matching, they were receiving fraudulent funds. So वो fraudulent funds had come to someone through say a UPI sort of a fraud or anything of that sort. और वो फंड्स फिर यूजर के अकाउंट में आता था. यूजर को लगता था कि यार ऑन अ 1 lakh transaction he has made 5%, so he's made 5,000 rupees, and he's again trying to do that loop.
एंड वो पैसा घूम के बिटबीएनएस
वो BitBNS पे आ रहा था because we're sort of facilitating crypto withdrawals. Like a lot of those accounts started sort of getting blocked. In sort of like December last year, it became that every day, like there was some of the accounts sort of getting. Uh, so almost like 20 plus blocks happened in a short sort of period of a month. And that's when we started like thinking through, okay, how do we sort of address that? We spoke to other exchanges in terms of their rational in terms of how they're sort of dealing with this. And we realized most of them have sort of stopped the crypto withdrawal function, and they'd sort of stopped it like a while back. So almost more than a year and a half, 2 years back, in terms of the major changes. So we started looking into that, and that's one of the primary reasons in terms of INR deposit करके crypto withdrawal वाला flow पे जो restriction most Indian exchanges have sort of put in. That has been sort of like because of that कि exchanges को first तो payment process से access मिलता नहीं है, gateways नहीं है, कोई वो system नहीं है.
बैंक
You have to use banking industry is not sort of support. And there are like a lot of crazy examples around that as well. So um, जैसे एक case that we are fighting with a bank called Indian Overseas Bank. उस case में for a 25,000 sort of amount, 1.15 CR is sort of. So we went to the High Court in Kerala. We won the case. So High Court has clearly directed कि इनका account open कर देना चाहिए. Only dispute amount अभी करिए. So they blocked a larger dispute amount, 99,000 blocked. So we're of 25 instead of 25. So that is also we are fine with that. At least the rest of the funds sort of get released. But the bank has not actioned upon that for the last 4 months. So we've gone to the bank multiple times, tried actually speaking to them, okay, what's the reason and all. But there is no response from them as to why that is sort of not. So we eventually had to sort of like also take the bank employees in terms of contempt of court and sort of fight that, right? But ये काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें बहुत मेंटल एनर्जी एंड वो सब ड्रेन कर देती है. एंड वी कैन आल्सो पुट सम ऑफ दीज लिंक्स एंड ऑल इन पब्लिक सो दैट पीपल हैव क्लैरिटी कि यार ये चीज़ चल that transparency sort of improves, right? As I said, like if I sort of was a user yes, मुझे वही लगता है कि I would have been fairly disappointed in terms of कि updates properly नहीं हो रही. And I think like uh, I should sort of like take responsibility and sort of ensure कि वो updates and communication happens clearly, properly, and users are sort of made aware कि what are the challenges we face, what are we doing for that, what lies ahead. And there are a lot of positives, right? As I said, a case wala positive hai. We are also, as I said, we were the first ones to bring Bitcoin SIP or crypto SIPs globally. Like globally, there was no firm that was sort of doing that. We bought it in like early 2019. And oh, goal-based SIP hota tha. So it was really, really sort of like amazing to see that people used to sort of that कि I put it for a daughter's marriage or my child's education or for buying some sort of like thing for like a PS5 for the child or some sort of like a marriage for like sister and all. And a lot of these goals got filled because Bitcoin price and Ethereum price and a lot of these assets sort of price rose over a period of time. And like lot of those users have been sort of like um, very happy with their experience earlier. And they want to sort of continue. They want to sort of like ensure okay, they are sort of like investing for a longer term in these things. which is when we also were of the opinion here ये सारा चीज decentralized होना चाहिए. We also were one of the first exchanges to like start promoting hardware wallets. We created BNS branded hardware wallet with a
Full wallet.
yeah whole wallet के साथ we sort of collaborated. We were actively sort of telling users, hey, you can sort of like withdraw this and take it into your hardware wallet. And third, as well, we also sort of brought in decentralized SIPs also. यार आपको Bitcoin के ऊपर SIP decentralized way में करना है, जहाँ पे wallet holding आपके पास है, तो उसके लिए एक tab भी बनाया था हम, Profit tab करके. And we did quite a few of these sort of things. And eventually, like with open in terms of how things were sort of happening, communicating and all, that does lag. And I take like full sort of like responsibility कि उसके कारण user trust sort of gets affected, broken and all. And like I'm saying here, um, so we're sort of fighting sort of these battles, doing things here. How do we sort of make this bull run work for people in a way here जैसे हमने पहले SIP से करा है? Like I remember we bought margin trading about 1.5 year before Binance bought it, and a lot of people benefited from that because it was a bear market. Bear market by margin trading, so you sort of have a lot of ability as a trader to sort of make money from that. SIP sort of help.
टेल यू वन थिंग, जैसे आपने मुझे बहुत सारी चीज़ें बताई एंड मैं यहाँ पे ऑडियंस को भी क्लियर कर दूँ, लाइक आई एम यूजिंग बिटबीएनएस फ्रॉम लाइक 2018. ये आई वाज लाइक वन ऑफ द अर्ली यूजर्स. ठीक है. एंड व्हाई आई वांटेड यू ऑन द पॉडकास्ट, क्योंकि मेरे साथ भी ये चीज़ रही है जो आपने अभी बोला कि लाइक द अर्ली यूजर्स का एक्सपीरियंस बहुत अच्छा था. लाइक हमने जैसे मार्जिन ट्रेडिंग में यू इंट्रोड्यूस ब्रैकेट ऑर्डर्स, एंड अगर मैं ब्रैकेट ऑर्डर्स की बात करूँ, बीइंग अ ट्रेडर मैं बहुत यूज़ करता एंड वो किसी और एक्सचेंज में अभी तक नहीं. एंड ऐसी बहुत सारी चीज़ें यू मेंशन अबाउट SIP. SIP में आई गेस देयर इज अ मोमेंट जो मैं आपके साथ शेयर करूंगा, एंड आई थिंक यू शुड बी प्राउड ऑफ दैट बिकॉज आई वाज यूजिंग द बिटड्रॉपलेट ऐप. ओके, ठीक है. एंड मेरा एक फ्रेंड था, ही यूज्ड टू स्मोक अ लॉट ऑफ सिगरेट्स. ओके, तो मैंने ऐसे ही से रैंडमली पूछा कि भाई तो कितने दिन में फूक लेता है, तो ही सेड लाइक 4-5. तो मैंने कहा कितना खर्चा आता है, ही सेड लाइक 100 रुपए का मेरा एक दिन का सिगरेट का खर्चा, दैट इज फिक्स. देन आई टोल्ड हिम कि लाइक भाई तो ये 100 रुपए ले, बिटड्रॉपलेट ऐप पे जा, इसमें बिटकॉइन में डालता है. एंड आफ्टर 1 ईयर, क्योंकि आई गेस वो 2020 वाला टाइम, आफ्टर 1 ईयर जब वो 2021 की बुल साइकिल आई, ही बॉट एन बाइक फॉर हिमसेल्फ. एंड उसने वो शायद वही 100-200 रुपए जो डाले होंगे उसी से ही बॉट बाइक, एंड ही वाज वेरी हैप्पी.
Correct, correct. So I think like we had and innovated on the product जहाँ से users को access मिल पाया, and like we have a lot of things that we're sort of working on जहाँ पे we foresee कि users would see a lot of avenues in terms of how they make best from the bull run. And also give a sneak. I'll also give a sneak peek of some of them. But first things first, it's like a fixed communication, right? Communicate what's happening, even if like there are challenges that you're facing. जैसे judicial system में it's not in our hand that like यार वो case का result कितना time ले, right? But at least keeping users communicated. Some users actually figured it out themselves. They actually went to sort of like go to websites or spoke to lawyers, figured out क्या इनके against case चल रहा है, क्या on their bank account and all, and eventually realized. But I think from a broader standpoint, right, if it is communicated properly to users with and everything, that sort of helps. Abhi case mein, like from what we sort of see is कि the second thing I think that uh, has not sort of happened that well is the customer experience front. And I think we're sort of like so that is something that we actually were sort of proud of earlier for 2021, the 2022. Like our customer experience is to sort of very diligently track, monitor, and sort of like ensure. And wahan pe, again, it has sort of not been good at all. And I think like we'll be taking steps around that. And overall, but it's something that I would want to sort of like communicate to the crypto community in India कि thanks for being there. We would bring things that is nowhere there right now in any exchange, and we'll try and do it in such a way that you make the best of the world. We'll also create decentralized alternatives, so you have custody of your funds and everything. And we are here to stay. Like we are going to sort of like be there, and also don't like we like couple of instances. I'll also sort of like put across that here uh, just sort of came to know here because of the lack of communication from our side. There are some random people who are sort of also trying to scam folks. Hey, I can help you solve your BNS issue, and just message me this and that and all that part of it. They're trying to get access to people's account and other things. Some of them are also sort of trying to go to lawyers. Going to lawyers actually would derail things. Typically, ये होता है कि lawyers के through lawyers are usually the ones who make money. It's not कि यार any of the parties sort of effectively benefit from it. So I think the issues are getting sorted on terms of the larger issues, the bank freezes ke around court case ka and all that bit of it. And again, the second one also is in the last leg of it. In terms of fixing the core things, it's like कि जो भी core modules है कि यार trading पे prices should be in sync with global prices for different assets. New assets के access होने चाहिए users के पास. Users should be able to sort of like seamlessly trade, like have access to that sort of funds. These are some things we'll sort of core focus on, fix the issues that are sort of out there, improve the customer experience, and then sort of like look towards bringing new features that actually can help sort of make people most from this sort of full run. A lot of the work is sort of already happening on that sort of lines, and you'll start seeing changes pretty soon.
एंड अगर अभी मैं कंसाइज करता हूँ, लाइक जो सबसे बड़ा इशू है दैट इज द विड्रॉल्स पार्ट, जो आपने जैसे बताया कि बैंक पे फ्रीज लग गया विच हैड मोर देन लाइक 60 सीआर ऑफ फंड,
Correct.
एंड जिसमें दो अलग अलग एजेंसीज ने फ्रीज, जिसमें से भाई एक का सॉल्व हो चुका है एंड एक का स्टिल इन प्रोग्रेस.
Correct. So right now we still, so like think of it this way, essentially customer funds it, right? Customer funds, like they can sort of get access. Why like people have sort of paused crypto withdrawals when INR deposits have sort of happened. I've sort of explained कि यार उसमें वो वाले काफी cases है
fraudulent money.
fraudulent money वाले. अब उसमें not just that bit of it, it has also happened कि यार older cases have also sort of come in. So like last week we got a mail from some law enforcement agency कि यार 2021 नवंबर का कोई केस है जिसके बेसिस पे आपके अकाउंट से 5 लाख रुपए विड्रॉ करके विक्टिम को सेटल हो जाए. It's not even कि कोई like they're sort of mentioning now कि यार block कर दो or something. They're directly sort of telling the bank कि withdraw it from the victim from BitBNS exchange account and sort of settle it back to this particular user. We never got an intimation कि यार क्या case था क्या नहीं था and all that shit. So इस case में like for that particular user he had already sort of withdrawn to. उसके केस में he basically withdrew it to some sort of some investment scheme or a fraud that was there on WhatsApp, and eventually filed a case. Police or law enforcement agencies in many cases are not willing to sort of do the entire due diligence in terms of care crypto funds kahan gaye, किस exchange pe. We should ideally then go to that exchange and sort of try and sort of establish the trail and recover it back. The easier route for them is to basically block a bank account and then sort of like
एंड इस जैसे आपने जो अभी पर्टिकुलर केस बताया 5 लाख का, एट दी एंड वो यूजर की गलती थी. यूजर ने एक इन्वेस्टमेंट स्कीम पे इसका व्हाट्सएप पे आई
correct,
एंड देन ही इज परस्यूइंग विद बीएनएस.
right. Well, because that's something that they're sort of like misguided on, and we're fighting with one of the users from Kolkata. And this happened 5 months back. He got he like got defrauded for an investment scheme. And he then sort of filed saying, so we had facilitated like the transaction of that sort of user. He filed it like a few months back. Um, uh, and because of that, like seven of our accounts are frozen. Seven accounts are sort of frozen, and the money is sort of also blocked. Like, so we on the account or like accounts or debit sort of frozen. Okay? Because what happens in this case is the user is basically layer one. So layers होते हैं कि यार कौन से layer में आपके पास पैसे, right? So इस case में the user directly had an account with us, and he sort of deposited money, withdrew that money to actually Bitget exchange. Bitget exchange से he withdrew it to that investment scheme that was sort of he lost entirety of it. And he then sort of like filed it. Yeah, I deposited money here, so I need my money back from. So in that case, we already served to the user. The INR is also sort of blocked. Also, additional INR is blocked because yes, accounts or balances thing severely curtails our ability to sort of serve you. Okay, so those things are sort of been really, really sort of problematic in terms of what's been sort of out there. So current conjecture वही है कि सारे exchanges ने वो like एक flow बना दिया है कि यार INR deposits है crypto withdrawals पे तो will sort of like pause. Uh, so that's there. INR withdrawals, as I said, like uh, with a case sort of solving, all of that would get in the same flow as it was before. And through what has sort of happened in the last sort of few months, उससे एक यूजर ट्रस्ट एज said like gets shaken, तो उसके कारण नए यूजर्स onboarding also sort of reduces then users are like skeptical in terms of onboarding, and that also has benefited more global exchanges, I would sort of say, क्योंकि uh, the overall Indian exchanges have gotten branded in one sort of way. You might have like differences in one or two, but like in general, it's like your Indian exchanges पे ये issues है. Okay, that is sort of a net negative for the entire ecosystem that is sort of out. So ये broad issues we're sort of fixing, and we'll want to sort of like communicate all these leaks to users कि यार ये चीज़ हो रही है, ये चीज़ हो रही है. I think one of the interesting things that I also realized is कि यार the community is very supportive in terms of कि यार अगर issue आ रहा है तो a couple of them also sort of like gave me certain sort of hints कि यार this is how you can potentially sort of solve that. And I think um, वो वाला part, because of the lack of communication, we're feeling you're fighting alone. We're just trying to sort of like uh, get into this sort of unsurmountable sort of blocks and other things that are sort of happening. But कुछ वहाँ पे वो clearly दिखने लग गया कि यार इस वजह से ये चीज़ solve हो सकती है and all. Instead of directly sort of मतलब court cases and all, we've sort of like engaged and all, and that also puts a lot of burden in terms of both. So every court case you are sort of spending across few lakhs, which ideally should never have sort of gotten spent. So वो सारी काफी चीजें हैं. We are like really, really sort of positive in terms of sort of how we'll be sort of like fixing this in the next sort of few weeks, and have really, really sort of solid plans in terms of क्या चीज इस bull run में like users को benefit करेगी. And one of the things that we are sort of interested in working on is कि uh, we sort of analyzed a lot of data in terms of here what have been the best returning sort of like value creating tokens for users over that, and we sort of realized कि mem coins में बहुत वो बना है users का, right? Mem coins have been like super sort of interesting in terms of here how they sort of like germinate, like can scale and all of that. And they start with a fairly low market cap here, 10K market cap, 150K market cap, and 100K. Yeah. So the growth factor in some of these has been really, really interesting, and we've been analyzing some of the data. Can that be sort of like opened up to users in a safe sort of way? Okay, hey, can they be sort of protected from drugs? Can they be sort of like given additional data access in terms of your ye mem space social velocity is increasing, or those sort of like markers and all. So we've been sort of looking at few of these sort of things, and essentially like the idea is कि ऐसे कुछ कुछ अलग अलग interesting things we are sort of looking at कि अगर this becomes the meme coin sort of super cycle which we're already seeing, right? Ki Dodge like is valued more than Ford and General Motors now. Pep has sort of crossed 10 million in market cap and those sort of things, right? So existing assets जो है top assets उनका proper access pricing sort of like resolutions in terms of care वहाँ कोई discrepancy नहीं होना चाहिए. And the second is how do you sort of like make access to other sort of things that are valuable for you. So those things we're sort of looking at and figuring out how we sort of create a flow for that for users, and then eventually like the idea is to like empower users that they can sort of like make most from the bull run and like sort the issues out. That's sort of priority number.
मतलब अभी आप बिटबीनस को रिवैम्प कर रहे हो फॉर
चीजें काम हो रहा था like but it's like at times your energy is also sort of get drained क्योंकि यार some part of your हाँ and you're like यार आज इस बैंक पे ये ब्लॉक आ गया and you have to leave everything out and sort of ensure कि यार that is being कि यार otherwise like it's that कि जो existing तुम process कर रहे हो users के लिए and all right, that also sort of gets severely affected and uh, that in terms of like what was sort of thing behind the scenes, I think this is the first time we are sort of communicating that to users, and I think we'll also sort of like put that out in public so that people also sort of like if they have some ways through which they can sort of like tell us here, hey, for example, some of the users, like I said, like two of the users sort of suggested a few ways to sort of resolve some of these issues. That was interesting. Matlab,
that's called credit goes to the crypto community.
yes. So entirely sort of on the crypto community here, they've been patient. We've sort of screwed up on few things. And like lack of communication, I think I would classify as the biggest sort of like deterrent there. Here, for users sort of like start like having a trust deficit, and we're like, yeah, um, we want to sort of ensure it's a great program for users. Uh, these are some of the challenges we face that also drains our energy in terms of working on the actual things that are sort of relevant and valuable for users. And अभी वही है कि यार focus वो करो कि यार properly communicate करो, चीजें fix करो, improve on things. Existing core functions should sort of work well so that users don't face lesser sort of issues, and then bring newer initiatives that can actually amplify the potential sort of like ways in which people can sort of benefit from the bull run. And that's like the core sort of focus.
लाइक आपने जैसा भी मेंशन करा कि एक यूजर एक्सपीरियंस लाइक आई एग्री विद यू क्योंकि जिन यूजर्स ने आप पे ट्रस्ट करा है बिटबीएनएस पे ट्रस्ट करा है तो हमें उन्हें बेटर वैल्यू प्रोवाइड करनी चाहिए and like since you are revamping so I would invite you like for Twitter spaces and all and even ये मेरी ऑडियंस से भी रिक्वेस्ट है कि अगर आपके पास भी कुछ इश्यूज हैं जो भी आप बिटबीएनएस पे फेस कर रहे हो तो एक बार यहीं कमेंट सेक्शन में डाल दो देन हम उसको ब्रीफ आउट करके दैट आई बिलीव दैट वुड बी इजी फॉर यू एंड इजी फॉर द यूजर्स एंड ऑफ कोर्स जैसे आपने बताया कोर्ट केसेस वाला जो सीन है एंड यहाँ पे आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट यूजर्स टू कि यहाँ पर जो भी आपके कोर्ट केसेस हैं वो आप जो भी ऑर्डर्स होते हैं
Well, put that, I think like timeline chronology is sort of critical. And we'll sort of put that across क्या stage में है क्या क्या हुआ है and all that sort of fun of it. We've won every single case that we fought. It's just that it takes so much longer to sort of do it. And not just that, like court case, we try and sort of avoid, right? Matlab we really try and sort of speak with the LEA and sort of try and explain here what do we do. We are an intermediary, we are not part of a fraudulent sort of trail. People eventually they understand in quite a few cases they also sort of release it themselves so that that's faster. But in quite a few cases, some LEAs are not sort of interested into that, and they're like, hey, you can go to court, and if I get an order, I'll sort of release it. So a lot of those things we've sort of seen over a period of time. And I think from the community side, again, uh, extreme apologies from my side. It is like entirely sort of on me that he this should have been like done earlier, communicated earlier. I done it in a way here that does not sort of uh, fail users here. उनके साथ कोई communication ही नहीं हो. So I'll sort of fix that. The other thing I'll sort of like try and ensure is कि I come more often, uh, and it could be sort of on different places. मतलब it not yet you can choose sort of a place or um, an influencer, and I'll sort of try and sort of attend that. And also the visibility standpoint also will sort of be improving. Okay, Bitbn is being sort of there at certain events and other places. Uh, some of our team members usually are sort of out there, and they've also faced some barrage of negativity around. And I think on that part, uh, uh, we'll sort of try and address the issues for it. Start clearing things off for कहीं भी कोई sort of product level चीज़ है कुछ broken है and all, and then I think things should sort of start getting back for users from an experience standpoint, and that's like the core sort of focus area, and then sort of like bring in new initiatives in terms of that can help amplify how users can make best from the bullback. Uh,
That's it. Yeah, I really want कि like I remember BitBNS back in 2018-19. I have seen the BitBNS journey. तो मुझे पता है एक time पे वो one of the top exchanges था. And just one quick question before ending the podcast. Do you believe कि इसमें lack of regulations जो भी इंडिया में एग्जिस्ट कर रहे हैं क्रिप्टो स्पेसिस के अराउंड उसकी बहुत बड़ा यहाँ पे इशू है बिकॉज जैसे हमने बताया 3 साल तक वो कोई केस चलता रहा जिसमें यूजर्स की फंड एट द एंड.
so I think the regulatory bodies are sort of like financial intelligence unit जैसे हैं or other agencies as well. Uh, they are trying to get things better. But it's that though like एक taxation का issue, right? That is extreme taxation. If you sort of like just logically think about it, no other country has this sort of a taxation around. जिस चीज के कारण not the exchanges suffered, right? So तीन major issues, ठीक है? Crypto exchanges,
Right.
Loss of revenue for the Indian exchequer. क्या गवर्नमेंट को जो पैसा बनना चाहिए था वो नहीं बना, right? Individual exchanges in India like BitBNS, CoinDCX, WazirX and all used to do like 50, 100 million trading volume at 2021 every day. मतलब अब सारे मिला के भी उतना नहीं कर, right? So that's when the prices have increased further, right? So the volume में तो if the prices have increased further, the volumes would go even further, right? And that is due to the taxation that is sort of coming, right? इसके कारण like the revenue loss to the exchequer care वो global exchanges पे trade करा, that is also that a lot of jobs also got lost because like startups are one of the fundamental drivers for also job creation. Swiggy and Zomato itself has created a million sort of jobs, right? And some of those stories could have gotten replicated with crypto, right? Because of what sort of started happening on the taxation side. I personally know like a lot of large people, like large sorts of people who started building companies in India, left India and they've settled in Dubai or some other places.
there was a mistake rumor. And they read a news article just like, are you flying to Dubai?
So I'm in Bangalore, and like uh, I've been to Dubai, but I'm like 11 and a half months I'm in Bangalore. मतलब like in India, I would sort of say. Bangalore में most of and फिर इंडिया में कहीं travel करते रहता हूँ, Delhi, sort of Mumbai or other places. So not in Dubai. And
ये rumor चला था बीच में.
I think like again, call is due to sort of lack of communication and like I think journalists, some of the journalists, even when one of the journalists sort of carried that story, like clearly told that journalist, if you want to meet me, you can meet me in the next sort of like a few hours or the next day. I am in Bangalore. Like, so if you want to sort of meet, we can sort of meet. And so I think those are sort of baseless rumors.
Right, इसी की वजह से और फंड क्रिएट हो जाता है.
But I don't understand the rationale behind that. कि यार ठीक है मतलब दुबई men all I'm not back. I keep traveling across to a couple of sort of places in India. Dubai में एक दो events I've sort of like gone through, but I've not spent anywhere more than sort of 15 days in Dubai in the say last 6 months or so. So like that there and like we're here we're here to serve users. We've done mistakes and we're owning up to it. I'm sort of squarely sort of responsible for a lot of these sort of mistakes. And it's sort of my honest sort of take कि all of these are sort of like fixable, and we're sort of working towards fixing it. It has been that we've not communicated to users, and that becomes a big sort of a challenge in terms of like how users sort of feel. And I think we're like 100% sort of committed in terms of doing this and ensuring this bull run is sort of really sort of meaningful and solid for users. um when we sort of start like doing things, we do them at speed. Like so if some of you sort of remember, we actually had an initiative where we're sort of like releasing a new thing every day. We had something called 100 days of BNS, and we're releasing like a new feature or update every day. So uh, uh, the entire core team is sort of out there. I sort of discussed with each one of them here, how do we sort of like ensure things get better for users, and we're going to be sort of fully committed in terms of doing this. Um, as I said, like पहले भी वही चीज था. We when bank accounts were blocked and all, we are sort of using our sort of like revenues or profits to sort of like ensure users sort of withdrawals and all those facilitated. Other things are sort of in motion. That sort of got affected after TDS, spam after that, everything sort of started happening and all. We were also sort of like so because of the uh, uh, issues, we're like at least we should sort of not charge users, and that might we also sort of remove the entire sort of trading fee. We'll sort of, but like what we realize, it's not about that. It's about ensuring a great experience for users. Users are not concerned so much more in terms of the trading phase. They're more concerned कि उनका experience hassle free होना चाहिए. What they are looking at doing in terms of gaining exposure into certain tokens, that should be seamless. They should be able to exit in time, and all the core functions should sort of like work properly. So clearly sort of like focused on to ensuring this, and you'll start seeing changes really quickly.
ठीक है, तो फॉर द यूजर्स पार्ट, ठीक है, आई ऑल्सो वांट कि यूजर्स की जितनी भी प्रॉब्लम्स है वो जल्द से जल्द से रिजॉल्व हो जाए. तो यूजर्स के लिए वंस अगेन कि जो भी आप प्रॉब्लम्स फेस कर रहे हो ऑन बिट बी एन एस, मेक श्योर आप कमेंट कर रहे हो एंड हम उन सारी कमेंट्स को कंपाइल करके यहाँ पे गौरव को पास ऑन कर दें.
Yeah, just don't fall for some person saying he's going to help you out and all. Most likely a scammer, or he is basically trying to get some money for himself in terms of that. मतलब, so this plus like any sort of legal sort of actions and all legal, as I said, like legal actions we've done so many cases, it just drags along. मतलब वो drag होगा. I am giving you that um, uh, like my sort of honest take. Here we are committed towards doing this. We did screw up. We didn't communicate, uh, and that is something we are sort of squarely focused. The entire sort of core team, and we'll sort of you'll start seeing changes pretty soon.
Looking forward to it. Right. Thank you, Gaurav, for joining us.
Great to sort of be here.